Okay, we're trying again.
Slope
live
live
stream
part
500.
This is Keith Brooks,
one of the founding partners at
Slope.
Slope.
Thank you for joining us. Sorry for the delay and the technical difficulties. I am streaming from a location in the country of Turkey, and internet is, let's just say, in progress. If you have any questions during the course of this hour, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll do what I can to respond. And yeah, don't mind me just looking for a new bag. Always looking for a new bag. I like these, but hey, that's what that is. What can I say? I am a long-time woodworker, cabinet maker, going back to the 90s, been in a career for quite a few years, and I have about 15 years experience as a builder, and about the same amount in production of cabinet design drawings and production drawings for the shop floor. In 2019, I started my own studio and quickly jumped right into SketchUp and LayOut using a full workflow. I did a lot of research with Nick Saunders' book, trying to develop a workflow for myself. I found that the architectural side of his workflow didn't really function very well for cabinets because I'm just doing a full room. So I started instead of a full house, just a single room. And what I ended up doing was, if you look at the red axis line here, I would just build a room, build a room, and sometimes I'd have 25, 30 rooms in a line here with all the cabinet and millwork in there, and I'd produce a set of drawings, and I think what I was going to do before my stream crashed before is bring up a set of old drawings so you kind of know where I'm coming from in terms of quality. This is probably one of the bigger projects that I have worked on. Took about 6 months to develop. It was for a very high-end customer in California, and my client was making the millwork and cabinets for this room. And these are the kinds of front pages I work with, developing all these custom products. And so here's a floor plan. It's a two elevation with all the elevations around the island, and then some details in this really unique closet that they built. And there's quite a bit going on in this room with custom hinges. They had custom hinges designed for this room and manufactured in China. And so there's a couple different types of floor plans here. There's one through the base cabinets, and then there's another plan section through the upper cabinets. That's why the plan view here for the island looks a little bit different. You're not seeing the cabinets underneath the countertop. And then more detail here as we develop the other side of that opening here. One there, and then one there in the middle style, and how that works. And then you have these kinds of elevations and all the hinge hardware, call-outs and text and section cuts. Now, a job like this took a long time to develop because there's so many custom details. But when you're doing cabinets, if you keep in mind that boxes are boxes. Most of these products are boxes or customized version of boxes. And for the most part, every kitchen on the planet has a generalized list of similar cabinets. Most kitchens have a sink cabinet in it, various different types, but you don't have a million alterations of that cabinet. You maybe have 10 to 20, and that covers 90% of the situations you might find yourself in cabinet design and cabinet production. So that led me down the road to create a template, and now for about a year we've been developing a template. And what I'm going to kind of work on today is an element of this template, which is our cabinet modeling library. It's going to be a little bit more developed than just cabinets. We're working on a full optimized list of appliances, and we're going to have an optimized list of plumbing components similar to faucet sinks. In the situations we're in, that's usually the extent. Maybe different. I don't think that's it. Cabinet design. If you're talking about interior design or interior architecture, then obviously you get into showers and tubs, and that expands out your list of things. So we're just going to, as I talk about this template, one of the things that we're going to do is make this for sale to the public. And this library and a few others that I might be showing off in the coming weeks as I do live streams, they will be probably showing me expanding these to include the interior design field, so that interior designers and interior architects, if they want optimized models for interiors, they can come and sign up and participate. We're going to be offering our modeling library on a month-to-month subscription basis because we want to continually be advancing it and adding cabinets, adding appliances, plumbing elements, and beyond furniture. What else? The core purpose is to create a library of optimized products. And one other note is that this particular library is custom built to work with the pardon me. It's custom built to work with my design template. And the design template, I may get to it today. I might not. Pardon me. It's pretty complicated, and I'm not sure yet if I'm willing to make it public. There's still some instructional stuff that we're doing to get it ready for release, and I don't want to jump the gun. So the thing that makes it custom is, in my experience, developing kitchens. There's, especially if you're not doing actual production, screen-to-machine type of production drawing, which this system is not interested in. It's strictly a system to present well-documented drawings like these. You're not going to produce screen-to-machine off of this PDF here. This is simply to communicate to the customer that the design shop, the production shop, knows what they're building. And then they take these drawings and they go to their screen-to-machine softwares like Cabinet Vision, Motif, and KCDW, whatever the one is that the particular shop uses. And then they will use all these details to create their part lists and get to their CNCs. This is the realm of my expertise. I don't work with screen-to-machine stuff. It's just too complicated, and usually it's local. very few freelancers out there doing screen and machine work for a local shop. So my focus is strictly on well-drawn design and production drawings, so that both the business and the customer and the shop floor all know fully what they're building. With that in mind, then simplifying the system, there's no reason, in my experience, and this is where it'd be fun. Hey, Stephen Hammeroff. How are you? Hammond Tree, excuse me. Hammeroff. I knew a Steve Hammeroff a long time ago. Stephen Hammond Tree. Wow, I haven't talked to you in a long time. How you doing? Very echoey. Yeah, I imagine so. I got a gorilla rig here. There's no boom mic. I'm doing it off these Bose earbuds. Maybe somewhere. Maybe you can get through this hour. The echo could be made better. Yeah. I wonder how I make it better. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I think it's the room, honestly. If you turn down the volume on the mic a little bit, that might help. Let me know. Get rid of the clipping so it's not clipping out. Let me know if that changes anything, makes it sound better. Oh, there's that bag again. Nice backdrop. Yeah, this backdrop is coming to you live from Turkey. I'm in a stone hotel room in the old city of the city that I'm currently staying in with my wife in Turkey. Pretty interesting place. And yeah. Anyway. Back to this. I'll try and keep my eye on the comments a little better here, so let me know if the echo gets any better. What I've found in modeling cabinets is there's no reason to do cabinet interiors. There's probably going to be some people that might argue with me on that one. I would love to have that discussion with some people, because in my experience, cabinet interiors slow down the modeling process. And there's no reason to if I'm borrowing something that Nick Sonder talked about, and that's the economy of scale. Economy of scale, maybe I might want to rearrange it a little bit and say economy of detail. If I go back to this set of drawings that I produced, where was that? Here. Elevations don't show you cabinet interiors. Ever. If I go up to the top and there's no cabinet interiors, and I have an old school drafting method, and I don't believe that anymore. I've got blacked out section lines or section cuts where you can actually see inside the wall, and I don't. Yeah, my YouTube is muted, and I got the headphones in, so there's nothing coming through that. I think it's just dialing the mic. Maybe I can tone it down just a little more. Yeah, let me know if that sounds any better. Anyway, back to the drawings. If you see this, I'm not a believer anymore in showing this fill. There's a lot of people who do. They show, large scale cuts through the floor and the ceiling. And when it comes to interiors, especially if you're not dealing with structure, I don't see the need to show it in an elevation. I actually prefer now to have Maybe I can show this with another drawing package. I prefer masked elevation, so you don't see this anymore. Let me see if I can find one that shows that. I'm not sure if I have one anymore. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, I prefer masks that mask off the profile, so the only thing you see is just a black line comes around, and in this case it would just wrap around here, and there'd be a floor line, and you'd know that this was a passage. And then you'd see the cabinets just like this and the trim, but there'd just be a dark line. You wouldn't see the molding, you wouldn't see the crown except for the profile there. I just think it develops a much cleaner look, and then in particular elevations, and this job doesn't show it that well. I think I could probably bring up another one. This same job, and you can see here I've got the really dark lines as I was developing this style. Here's one right here where I had to, because I'm doing a cut through, I had to show all this interior, and I didn't like it. It didn't make sense to me. When if you mask, then it's just a dark line that goes through this and cuts, and then goes down there and cuts there and down the front of the cabinet to the floor and then out. And this is all just empty. And all you're seeing is the woodwork, because that's all we wanted to show. We just wanted to show this panel and what it looks like with the cabinet, which would have been the pass-through right there. And this, and here's another example. You know, this particular one, A13, is this section cut, and so we're going through this cabinet, but there's no real reason to see all of that. So why show all this wall? Why show any of it? Over and over, I have examples. Why show this when we don't need to? We can just have a section. This one was really funky. Cabinet interiors, in my opinion, create complications for just showing elevations. So I came up with a different method. And that method is similar to this one, where we do sections like this. And got to make sure I see the YouTube just to see a bit better. All right. Oh, where's that drawing? So in these kind of situations, now granted this is pre-template, this is just a section cut of the room, but in the future, there are no section cuts in my template. I have 5 scenes, and I have another file for section cuts in particular, and we copy paste a particular area of a room and paste that into the section file, and there are already pre-established cut lines there that have pre-established viewports in my main layout file. And so when you put the cabinets in, then you can detail the interiors. And when you save that file, and you open up layout and you update, the section pages now have the full section detail already drawn. You don't have to set anything up. And this is the beauty of this system. So when it comes to the main template file, I'm not going to go and open it right now because it's just complicated. And unfortunately, I'd love to show the layout, but layout, for whatever reason, I can't get it to launch. So it's just not having fun. So this library is all about just simple boxes, just a few components. It's a box and a door, and then these dashed lines and hardware, a hardware plug. And the doors and the plugs, the hardware plugs, those are components, so we can exchange them for the actual profile of the room when it gets established using the component switch, component replace, excuse me. And So we've got a pretty robust system here. I think for modeling today, there is an error that I have to fix, that I'm going to spend my time fixing. And that's this right here, this invisible line, because in face frames, the wall panel will go here, and in an elevation from the side, this is how it would look in the field. There'd be no line there because it had been finished. Some cabinet shops will miter that corner, but for this modeling library, we're doing it this way. So I have to go to the back of all these cabinets and make that back edge invisible. So we hit hide, and that one's done. We go there, so we gotta go through this whole thing. Looks like we got that one. And we hit hide. And yeah. Hide. Looks like that one's hidden, so there's some repeated face frames here, which is good. Hide. Oh. Okay. I think that's one of the things I really was hoping to be able to talk about today, if I could get my layout file, and that's stacked viewports. I really actually like stacked viewports quite a bit. I think they yield a much better looking drawing that's closer, not perfect, but closer in effect to drafting. And I wish there were more people on here, because I would love to have this conversation. And that's the state of basic drafting presentation skills. I'm, interesting enough, someone that is a Generation X professional, came out of school, or went into architecture school in the late 80s and came out in the early 90s. And the drafting board was very much a part of our curriculum. And to this day, I have a drafting board in my studio. It's in storage right now because I'm traveling so much, but very much appreciate what the drafting board brings to the table. And I think the education that one gets when you're learning the drafting board, and line rates specifically, is definitely, what would I say? Well, maybe I could put it this way. I don't think presentation has changed. I think presentation and visual arts don't change, really. I think the tools that get us there change. Wrong. but the eyeball has not changed, and the way the mind processes imagery and three-dimensional space has not changed. And what's interesting about this is if you just do a rudimentary search on YouTube for visual presentation skills, you will find quite a list of professional artists and their videos who discuss recently, within the last year, how to create drawings that are visually easy to read. And this principle is something I believe is being lost because software has become so easy, and SketchUp and LayOut, in my opinion, is the perfect example of this. SketchUp's, what would you call it? They call it a steep learning curve when something's difficult. I don't think SketchUp has a learning curve. I think I can in 5 minutes teach you 3 tools, and in SketchUp, and in an hour you probably will have made something that you can recognize. That is a powerful tool that SketchUp and the At-Last folks back in the days when the software was being developed, that they came up with this push-pull idea, and which is, separated SketchUp from so many people. And what we found out at SLOPED is that almost every single architecture office in the world has heard of SketchUp, and they use it for their modeling. Very few people, compared to that list of users of SketchUp, utilize LayOut. And partly it's because of software. LayOut is not necessarily a very robust platform compared to others, like Revit. It doesn't have the longevity yet that Autodesk has, and the power in the industry that Autodesk has. Maybe as me and my partner stream, we might be able to win some businesses over to the idea that LayOut is a lot more powerful than most people give it credit for, and I hope we're able to accomplish that. We're definitely cheerleaders for the SketchUp and LayOut workflow, and we're joining many others who've come before us. Nick Sonder, Matt Donnelly, maybe the chief among those who cheerlead for LayOut, and Mike Brightman, although more humorously, he reasonably he cheerleads that LayOut is long overdue for some updates, and his plugin definitely accomplishes some of those updates where Trimble and SketchUp itself have, to whatever extent you understand the situation, have not chosen to bring that update sooner. Those of us who are very interested in LayOut would love to see them change that fact soon, but maybe not anytime soon. Anyway, all that to say, coming back to the original point, the one thing that LayOut, Revit, Autodesk, products of any kind, ArchiCAD, and any other one that the viewer may know about that produces two-dimensional line drawings, they all have one thing in common. They can be used to create 2D drawings, but the user has to understand visual communication in order to know how to properly utilize the platform to create readable drawings. And that's what it's all about in architecture, at least when I was in school. Readable drawings communicate information well, which creates a lower error rate. And I have this little motto, drawings that are made well, or read well, or work well. Gosh, I can't even remember my own statement. Yeah, that's ridiculous that I don't even know my own motto. Guess I'm under pressure. Anyway, if drawings don't read well, they don't work well. So if they read well, they work well. And if they work well, then the professionals who use them can communicate properly. Nick Saunders does such a great job communicating this in his workflow with his professional community. They have tested it with his engineering firm, with the builder he works with, the subs that builder uses. All these people have tested his drawings and they love them. They communicate well. They don't have to ask a lot of questions. It's obvious what they're making because Nick has done such a good job creating his details. Well, this is the very essence of what an architect does. He not only creates the beautiful space that the end user is going to enjoy, but he also is a visual communicator so that all the people involved in the process are comfortable with the idea that they are able to interpret the drawings and produce what's on the paper well. I can't tell you how many years I was mocked coming out of architecture school. So I immediately could not get a job because I came out when computers were just starting to get in the office and they hadn't yet become a big thing in the university. And no one would hire me because I didn't have any computer experience and I didn't have the wherewithal to consider that I could go back to school for AutoCAD and get that last little bit for another year. Maybe because I was sick of school after 5 years, but that's a different story and it doesn't matter. What does matter is that I began to frame houses, and when you become a carpenter, you get to meet the people that hate your drawings the most. Builders and carpenters, I found, without fail, had nothing but negative things to say about architects and their presentation drawings. And I have to say this, unfortunately, many times they had a reason to be less than excited. Yeah, Steve, I totally agree with you. I wish. Condoc is what SketchUp and LayOut should want to be when it grows up. That's exactly right. I don't know. I hope they're listening over there. I've seen some pretty. I've been a part of. I've commented on the forums rather recently with some emotion, I guess I would say, because it's what are we, 20 some years in on this software, and LayOut is still functioning basically the way it has for the last 10 years. There's some improvements here and there. The SketchUp panel in LayOut, I think, transformed it, but Mike definitely has built a plugin that shows how undeveloped LayOut is. I do think that this template I'm working on might show some interesting results for native development of automatic drawings in LayOut through tag control and stacked viewports in LayOut. But a lot of people don't like stacked viewports because they can be complicated in the layers and how to get to the stack and know which one to work with. But when the template comes out, I'm hoping that it'll challenge the status quo in that area. I can't agree with you anymore, though. I think Mike Bryman's his last video, I think he lit a torch on SketchUp and LayOut. And I've watched his stuff in the past and thought, wow, that's a little over the top, I think. But this time, I think because of my work with my partners, Joanne and Kendall and SLOPED, I've gotten to know the process a lot better and realize that while you can do a lot with layout, there's a lot of things left to be desired. A lot of things that I don't know, and my comments really come from being a Mac user. The Mac interface is ridiculous, honestly. This is the extent of what you get as far as space for plugins. I've been toying around with this plugin right here, which is Master Toolbar Manager. It's okay. It's not great. I would love to see someone come up with a plugin that gives you a right-click context orbit tool where you've got like a circle that comes up and you can just, all of these icons are in this circle when you click the middle button, right-click. You get all these, but then you have a button here and you click on it and all your plugin icons just jump up in front of you, click on the one you want and you go back to work. If that was there, then I wouldn't struggle as much up here. But hey, there's this too. If you're a Mac user, you just gotta love these floating windows, floating panels. They go wherever they feel like it. They don't. Sometimes they show up in other places when you open the screen. Another big one for layout that and even for SketchUp really, is memorizing different types of screen setups. Like right now I'm mobile, so I'm on my laptop and I've got a small Asus mobile monitor about the same size as a 16-inch laptop screen, and sometimes I have it on the right, and like right now because of the way this room is, and sometimes I have it on the left because the room is different, and then sometimes I actually am able to plug into a big monitor. So that's 3 different setups. 4 if I consider big monitor on my left or big monitor on my right. It'd be great if you could just click on a little thing here and say I want this configuration. It just automatically throws everything right where it's supposed to be. Yeah, and I could just keep going on and on, but I will refrain myself and get back to my template stuff. Yes, totally agree. Layout needs some help. But back to presentation drawings, I wish, let me say this, I think that where I'm trying to go with my template is to find a way back to visually accurate drafting type drawings. And I believe I'm getting closer using tags, proper styles, really nuanced styles, and the stacked viewport system in layout. And the template's going to be done in such a way where I'm effectively getting the same result as Mike Brightman, which is automatic drawings. The only thing that isn't going to be automatic is dimensions and notes. That's a whole nother ball game. I don't know too many people. I'm not sure Mike Brightman even gets dimensions and notes. He gets, I think he gets automated drawings, but he doesn't have dimensions that are automatic, and he doesn't have notes automatic, I believe. I do believe from what he said, he made a comment to me one time that he was trying to introduce a cabinet woodworking element in his plugin. So maybe there's something he's developing there that would, be something I might be interested in. But right now, I think what I like about this is there's just no plugin required. You get to use all native tools. You just got to know how to use tags. I can actually show off the tag structure, part of the tag structure. It comes back to this set. We have parts for the cabinets. We have cabinet types. We have all the dash lines for door swings, pullouts, and shelves. We have hardware, all different types, excuse me. And then we have moldings, and we may add some down the road depending on how the drawings develop over time. And then we have surrounding items, which is appliances and lights and plumbing and tile and different things like that that have to show up in an interior elevation. So Steve doesn't, excuse me, sorry, Steve. Mike Brightman doesn't have dimensions or annotations. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so my intention has not been to be his competitor. I don't think I'm even close to being his competitor. His whole model, his whole thing is developed for full architecture, and my template isn't. My template's built on the idea of building a single room with max, well, I'm not going to say max because you can do more, but built on four walls, or a 3-wall room, or a 2-wall room, or a 1-wall room, because those are generally 90% of the projects that I have ever seen in cabinet design. 70% of all the jobs I've ever done are a single wall with a vanity, a laundry room elevation, closet elevations. It's usually that and nothing more. Every job has a kitchen, which most kitchens are 2 walls, some are 3, and the rare kitchen has 4. I don't know too many kitchens that have 4 walls of cabinet elevations, but some might. And so we've developed a section of rooms like that where you just pick the rooms that you need, delete the rest through the tag panel. Just if I don't want that particular room, I hit this and hit delete, and away all those pre-built rooms. That's what the template has, is pre-built rooms with dummy cabinets like these in it, and then the layout file has the same. And so basically you're just picking the rooms you need, reorient the room based on your site dimensions and the design that you get from your customer. Add the new cabinets in, hit save, go to layout, update, bam, all of your drawings are done. Just got to start dimensioning. It literally is taking 50 to 60% of the work out for me, which is just astounding. There's not all this labor to model every single cabinet, because I got toe kicks and end panels and countertops, and if you're doing frameless, all these pre-built fillers and pilasters and scribes, different types. We've got what they call furniture-based face frame, which means that the style goes all the way to the floor and the toe kick is integrated. And then you've got the regular face frames that don't have that, and they sit on top of a toe kick with some kind of either adjustable foot, a front face, or toe kick ladder, depending on the builder. So yeah, that's what we're aiming for, is to make these jobs faster for cabinet makers. And this library is being developed by me and by my studio and a customer that I met at SketchUp Base Camp last year, who has a shop in Michigan. Steve, I think that's where you're from, isn't it? If I remember right. You're up by Grand Rapids or something. Anyway, he's in that same vicinity. I think he, what's the town? I don't remember the name of the town he's in. Mid-Michigan somewhere. And he had a need, and most of that need was, I want better drawings, and I don't like my current drawings. I do everything in a software called Cabinet Vision, and the drawings are horrible, and I totally agree with him because I've worked in that software, and the drawings are horrible. And so he saw the work that I had been doing and told him about a template I was thinking about building. And he got excited and decided to fund the build of the template, and now we're about I don't know. Template itself is somewhere around 80% done. The files and the layout, everything's working. We've been testing it in projects, but now we've got to develop the user-friendly part of it, which is instructional manuals and videos and our scrapbooks for details. Whoa, what is that? Interesting. This is untagged cabinet box. What happened there? .75. That was weird. Oh. Has the audio gotten any better for those that are paying attention? Excuse me, sorry about that. So, since we're I think I'm going to call it quits for the night. It's been 45 minutes. I don't think we're going to have anybody else. And I will be ready next week with another attempt, and hopefully the microphone is a better view. Hopefully the microphone presents a better viewing experience, and hopefully my layout is working. I can talk about stacked viewports a little more with the audience. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for joining. We'll see you soon.